Just a friendly reminder that the opinions expressed on this show are not worth a Canadian penny, so disregard anything you hear that might get anyone in trouble. And despite some of the great ideas you may hear, don't try them at home. Go to a friend's house instead.
It's time to get a gun. That's what I've been thinking. Oh, I could afford one. And if I did just a little less drinking, time to put something between me and the sun. When the talking is over, it's time to get a gun.
Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 181 of Slamfire Radio for November 18th, 2016. I'm one of your hosts, Matthew the Warning Shot McClatchy.
And I'm Adriel, the Hunting Gear Guy, Michaud.
And I'm Kelly, the Classy One, Lynn.
And I'm Trevor.
Hey, Trevor.
I just
Trevor.
Trevor the Filati. Sorry. I didn't want to do my own thing there. I just can't speak so good.
That's cool, man. No worries.
Very good.
Well, seeing as you can't speak and you haven't been on in a while. Wait, when were you last on?
I was on last week, and I finally made it back on the Reloading podcast.
Right, so you have been on in a while.
And then we did the bonus episode on Monday, which was awesome, but you don't know that unless you're a Patreon-y.
That's right.
So,
and I told a cool story on that, and I don't know if I'm going to tell it on this episode. Maybe you have to become
I wouldn't. I would save it for the Patreonies.
Sure.
I mean, we gotta give,
gotta give them something.
Yeah, make it worth their while.
Yeah,
right?
why not? If you want to hear my cool story, then it's not really that cool of a story, to be perfectly honest with you.
Well, now they're not going to become.
Let's just say I managed to get a velocity out of my handgun of over 2,000 feet per second.
Now there's a hook.
There's a hook.
If that's not enough to pique your interest.
If you want to find out how to get a velocity of over 2,000 feet per second out of a handgun, you go ahead and become a Patreon-y, and you'll find out.
Or maybe you don't like handguns.
Maybe you don't. And in that case, whatever.
Stop listening.
Yeah, just listen for other reasons, like because of our shotguns, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I love shotguns.
Shotguns are cool. I do like shotguns myself.
Sadly, I reported last week that my JM Pro was on the way, but it is not. But that's okay, Charlie. I forgive you.
Do you know what is on the way, though?
Not my shotgun.
My Troy PAR.
I was going to say, is it your
Joy? Is it?
I got shipping notification this morning, so I should have it by the end of the month. I should hopefully have it by next Friday, but who knows how the Postal Service is going to go these next couple of weeks. So, yeah, but it's in the mail, and it's in Canada, and it's on its way to me, so I'm stoked about that. I'm hoping that I get accuracy out of it, and if I do, fantastic. And if not, who wants to buy a Troy?
Did you know Bolivar had one?
Yes. He offered to show it to me when I showed him my airplane, and I said, I've seen a Troy PAR before, I have one. The only difference is your bore will be bigger. And he's like, yep. So we went and looked at the airplane and said, oh, and by the way, Bolivar, that big pedestal plane out front of the airport is a Lancaster. I know, right? I didn't think it was a Lancaster either, but I decided to solve the mystery by walking up to the airplane, which was only 20 feet away from us, and looking at the plaque. So
I thought, are you talking about the same plane that they're supposed to restore to flying condition?
Yes.
That's going to cost millions.
Millions. Very, very much millions. But yeah, no, it's actually a Lancaster. So it's...
Well, what did you think it was?
We didn't know because we thought Lancasters had a single tail, not a twin tail. This thing has a forked tail in the back like a P-38, and I thought Lancasters had a single big tail, which they do, don't they? The B-17?
When you took me there, you said it was a Lancaster.
I know, that's because I'm right, but I'm just confused because it has a different tail than what most Lancasters have that I'm familiar with. So.
Okay, if this doesn't stop right now, I'm switching archery.
I started off by trying to tell Bolivar that he was wrong and that I was right, and it went the wrong way.
Speaking of Bolivar, you know what he did today? He foolishly, Ken Kowalski foolishly took Brian's advice. Ken was having a bad day. Brian suggests that Ken call me and hang up on me because that always cheers Brian up. Well, Ken doesn't know how to play the hang-up game, and I think Brian knew that I knew that Ken didn't know how to play the hang-up game. So Kowalski calls me, and I'm like, hey, Ken, what's up? He's like, nothing, man. I just called to hang up on you. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, Brian said that since I'm having a bad day and I don't feel good, that I should call you and hang up on you. And I'm like, really, dude? Here I was thinking I was going to have this meaningful conversation with my buddy Ken. And automatically Ken goes, well, we can certainly do that, click. I nailed him.
So your day got better because you hung up on him.
Totally. Hook, line, and sinker. What a rookie. So
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So, coming back to Brian. Go ahead,
I
Kelly.
was just going to say, are we going to talk about guns at some point?
We'll get
Well, I
there
was gonna
eventually.
say, coming back to Brian's PAR, it's actually in 300 blackout, and he went deer hunting with it.
Yep.
I don't know
that's
if he bagged a deer with it or not, but
I would have think we would have heard about it had he.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I didn't
saw the
hear about
picture
it, so
where he was at his stand there with his PAR, but
I did see that picture, yeah, but I didn't see a picture of a deer with a PIR draped over its neck like it should.
I'm going to say it again in case some listeners are new and they haven't heard me rant on this yet, but I think that the 300 blackout is a successful round based solely on advertising, hype, and the right organization adopting it.
Well,
I
I
don't
think the
it's-
biggest reason the 300 blackout is around is because in the States they can run suppressors, and you want the biggest, heaviest projectile you can if it's going subsonic, don't you?
well, no, suppress your 308.
Well, yeah, but I guess you got a
'Cause
point
then-
there. But
then you have a
but a
bigger,
300 blackout you can run in at 5.56 lower without having to modify anything. Just change the upper.
Yeah, you're okay. Yeah, you're right. The only appeal
Right.
to the 300 blackout is the suppressor
But
component.
we are Canadians, and we don't
Yeah.
have that ability. So what's
Yeah.
the point?
Right. So, like, if I'm going to hunt with a 30 cal AR round, I'll do it in the 7.62 by 40. I mean, I've preached that forever because the 300 blackout is just a shorter version of that same round.
You might as well get more powder behind it, right?
Exactly. And you can do some pretty slow loadings with that as well if you want.
Yeah, you
I'm
can get
sure
that
that's
subsonic. Surely
Yeah,
you
it's
could.
suppressible.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it was designed by Wilson for specifically hunting hogs with ARs.
Which I don't know why I haven't done that yet.
I don't know either.
That'd be so much fun, especially from a helicopter.
Well, I don't know about a helicopter, but I know that there's a guy in Texas who said we could go. But
All we gotta
you
do
know,
is figure out how to get down there. Patreons
money.
to your checkbooks.
yeah, exactly. Anyway,
We need 4 airfares. Return trip to Texas to shoot hogs.
Texas. Yeah.
Yeah, everything's bigger in Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Anyway,
so,
yeah.
What else did you do?
I have started shooting the video for the Volquartsen review. I haven't had it back out to the range since last time I had it to the range, but I guess the listeners wouldn't know that because that was on the Patreon podcast. So I think I did mention on last week's show that a Volquartsen Fusion was donated to me for a trial or for a limited amount of time.
Just donate it. No,
Just donate it. Thanks again, Matt.
It's on a podcast, so it must be true. And and which model is it again? Because I made a boo boo last week and you didn't correct me. And
Yeah, it was my
figured
bad.
it out
Yeah,
after the fact.
I misunderstood by being not listening, I guess. Yeah, it's the Fusion. It's the Fusion, which is the takedown version. So you just unscrew the handguard and the barrel pops out, so you can take it
So
down and put it in a
nothing
small case.
nothing like the Volquartsen 22 that I was thinking. And
No,
I,
nothing at all.
And I described the one that was used in the same season that of Top Shot that Dustin Ellerman won.
Yep.
So for the listeners that were familiar, it's not that gun.
It's not that one. No, it's the takedown version, and it's cool. I like it. I think for its size, though, it's not really a takedown rifle for its size. I would prefer actually it in the Boyd stock that you were discussing, that you were describing, because it is a bigger gun, and that Boyd stock would just make it a bit more comfortable and a bit more practical, I guess, for shooting off the bench. Because really, as accurate as it is, it's good for shooting off the bench. This thing is accurate. I am very impressed with some of the groups I'm getting out of it, and I haven't even really been trying yet. I've taken it to the range once just to kind of get out there and experience it a little bit before I started writing up my review on it. I'll be taking it back, of course, and doing some actual accuracy testing and stuff, but I just want to get a feel for it. And man, the trigger on it is awesome. The groups, I mean, I don't even know how to describe it to you. I didn't even have to try, and I was getting well under an inch at 50 yards.
So
Which-
bolt action accuracy in a semi are better.
Oh, yeah, I would say better. I couldn't get this accuracy out of my Savage Mark II, the FVSR that I had. Whether that was just a matter of me not finding the right ammo for it, I don't know. But I tried 2 different types of ammo in this thing, both bulk. One was the wax coating and one was the copper coating. And usually whenever you do that, it takes quite a while for the groups to settle down again between switching ammo. And I just wanted to try it just to see. Didn't even care. The point of impact shifted very slightly, and that was it. Group sizes were the same between this cheap bulk pack Winchester stuff and some cheap CCI Blazer, and group sizes were they didn't change, they just shifted a little bit. So this gun shoots.
But if I recall, the Blazer is a kind of like a cheaper version of the CCI standard velocity. Blazer's made by CCI.
It's faster than the standard velocity, though.
Oh, it is. Okay. Yeah. But it's still not...
it's not match grade by any stretch.
No, but it's also not
bulk either,
high velocity 22, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think
the Blazer is? Okay.
Clocks in at like 1230 or 1240 or something like that.
I found like really good luck with that Blazer stuff. It is made by CCI, and for like the cheapest possible accurate ammo, I had really good luck with it.
Yep, same here. My only concern with it is I find it fouls the bores quite quickly. I just really like copper wash projectiles in my 22s because I don't even have to worry about the bore ever. I can just shoot it. So that's the only concern that I have with that stuff. But you're right. It seems to always feed well. It seems to very good. Like it's got a really nice round nose on it, so it slides into the chamber very nicely, and it does produce very good results in most guns accuracy-wise. So. But yeah, anyway, I'm really enjoying it. I'll take it back out and I'll finish up the video in the next couple of days or maybe weeks, or depending on when the weather gets nice again. But yeah, Matt, I will give you back your rifle eventually, but I'm not done with it yet. But that's it. That's what I did. So I guess, Trevor.
Let's see. The biggest thing I did was I traveled to Fredericton to hang out with Filthy and the
Squire. Thanks for coming to see me, by the way. I mean, you'll drive all the way down to Fredericton to see him, but you won't even come over and see me. And I'm closer.
Okay. So the boring part of the story, which I was going to omit, but now that you're trying to throw me under the bus, I have to throw it in there. We were going to Costco. That was the purpose of the trip. Oh. And I was able to work in some range time. Are you happy now?
So what you're trying to say is we need a Costco in Edmonton?
Yeah, that and shut up. So I went to Filthy's and hung out with Filthy and the Squire and Filthy's buddy Mike, who I bought the STI Spartan 1911 from a couple of weeks back, and we did much shooting. We went to Filthy's range on Saturday morning, and I brought both my STI 1911s, the Spartan and the Trojan, and I brought both my Tanfoglios. I had only shot the stock 3 Extreme that one time when I received it the weekend of our little canceled 3-gun match that you were at, Matthew. Right. So I wanted to get it back out and shoot it some more. So I brought with me some of my 125 grain cast powder-coated ammo. And you know how they're always talking about the unreliability? Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a word.
Yeah, the unreliability of the... I really do have my own language or vernacular. So anyway, my Trojan would eat this ammo, and my Tanfoglio Stock 3 would not. It was kind of ironic. If I wanted to shoot that day, I had to shoot the reliable 1911 and put the fancy schmancy Italian Tanfoglio Extreme away because it wouldn't feed. Tight chamber is the issue. I came home and took the ammo and case gauged it, and it wasn't case gauging. I thought initially that it was the shape of the 125 grain round nose projectile. I thought that the length of the bullet combined with the ogive of the bullet was causing some feeding issues in the Tanfoglio. Not the case at all. I just had some of the ammo poorly resized, and I don't really know what to attribute it to. I guess the Dillon die could be the culprit. So I have a Evolution Gunworks undersized die that I'm going to reinstall on my Dillon and use that to start increasing the reliability of my 9mm ammo. It's nice that the 1911 will handle it though, and it feeds in there. But I guess the 1911 is not a match gun as much as STI would like to think it is. It's still a 1911. They are, I mean, they are accurate. They're more accurate than plastic guns, but the Tanfoglio is the tolerances are certainly a lot tighter, and that also includes the chamber. So it wasn't the gun or the mags or anything, and it wasn't even the shape of the bullet. It turns out that some of my ammo, some of my brass didn't get resized correctly, and it was all loaded at the same time. So some of them were good and some of them weren't good. But this was just plinking ammo. It wasn't match ammo. If it was match ammo, it all would have went through the case gauge. So I would have caught them before a match. What else? Oh, I also brought my new AR with me and zeroed that at 36. So I had 36 yards, 36 filthy steps is actually what it was. I'm still recovering from the hernia surgery, so I wasn't doing a lot of moving around. And so Filthy went downrange to set up my targets for me. Filthy picked up all my brass. How mental is that? Like, all of my brass was in one spot.
And he gave it to you?
Table. Yeah, picked it all up. And
see, I would have picked it all up, but I just would have kept it.
You would have, or pull an Owen. Hey, Trev, is this one of yours? Whew, over to the berm. So, I had brought my brass catcher with me for my AR-15. It velcros onto the front handguard, and there's a bag that goes over the ejection port. They're crap. At least this one's crap because it was causing constant stoppages. The brass would only make it halfway into the bag and then bounce back into the ejection port. And anyway, that lasted all of 3 rounds, and it went flying across the range. So at the end of the day, all my brass was on the floor, and yep, Filthy picked it all up and sorted the crap out of it. And by crap, I mean like he did it all with a broom, tossed out the 22 and the steel case, and put it all in my bag for me. So he's the nicest clone trooper in the galaxy. He really is. That's why he had to retire from the Empire. He's just not heartless enough. So
makes sense.
I'm gonna pay for that. The Death Star is gonna appear outside my door later.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So what else did I do? So I set it in my AR, and I also brought my VZ58 with me. I had received a front sight pusher tool that's used on the SKS or the AK or the VZ. I got that from Thomas Donnelly, I think, this summer at the charity shoot. And I hadn't gotten around to adjusting the front sight because last time I fired that gun with iron sights at 100, it was grouping pretty badly. I mean, it's just not an accurate gun. Maybe, I don't know. I'm using, you know what? I think I actually put, if you believe the Norinco ammo is 5.56, then that's what I put through it. If you believe it's 2.23, then that's what I put through it. If you think it doesn't matter, well, anyway, it didn't seem to be grouping to the left this time, so I didn't actually get to use the tool. I double checked the height on the irons, adjusted the front sight post, and then I also sighted in with my red dot, all at 100, because it's non-restricted, it's 2.23, and it's kind of a trunk gun. So if I see a coyote or a crow or something, I might take a shot at it with that. So I'd rather have a 100-meter zero on that gun. And I got to test out the Spatha Tactical VZ58 brake that I got from S&J Hardware this summer at the charity shoot. I mean, the fit and finish of this product is second to none. It's very, very well made. There's no tooling marks. It's precise. It looks good. It's got these cool ports that angle back towards you, and I could actually feel some of the air coming back off of the muzzle when I would fire the gun. And I believe Filthy got some high-speed footage of me doing some mag dumps and the gun. I mean, it's a big, heavy gun anyway, because it's a full-size rifle. It's got an 18.5-inch barrel. It'd be so much better at 14.5, but then, of course, it would be restricted. Anyway, flat. I mean, it's not that the 223 kicks, but when it's got a comp, like my competition AR, it's just really, really flat. I wouldn't mind actually using it in a 3-gun because it uses AR mags, and it uses the Magwell adapter has the mag release button in this exact same location it would be as an AR. I mean, the only thing it doesn't have is like a bolt release, so you just have to do the overhand like an AK or put the mag in and go from underneath to kind of release the bolt if you're unfortunate enough to go to slide lock, bolt lock. Help me. No,
slide bolt lock.
Bolt lock.
Sliding bolt lock.
Sliding bolt lock. If you go to sliding bolt lock, then you just deal with it accordingly. But other than that, I wouldn't mind running it. It's got good ergonomics, I think. And with the red dot and the comp, it's a heck of a lot of fun to shoot. I keep threatening to use it in one of our training classes, but I just keep falling back on the air. But I should do a training class with it to find out, if there are any kinks in the armor, so to speak, with this platform. The best way to learn your gun is to shoot it under someone else's conditions. And Matthew and I will tell you, and Adriel and Kelly, they've all taken classes. They've been on the line. They've seen people's equipment fail. Who say, my gun always runs. Your gun always runs under your conditions when you just do the things that you're good at, and you do the things where your gun doesn't fail, and then somebody else puts you through the paces and surprise. I mean, we've had law enforcement in our training classes and our black badge classes, and we have them say, wow, this actually showed me the limitations of my gear, kind of thing. I've never used it under these conditions. So, and then I received a gym bag full of ammo. And,
nice.
So sorry, Kelly and Angel, I don't have anything for you guys because you shoot real good calibers. But Matthew foolishly shoots a 410.
Yay!
So the 410, see, a little give, little take. You get ammo, but an insult. They get nothing but praise. See how that works?
I'll take it.
All right. Yeah, I would take the insults and the ammo. So I got 50 rounds of 410 for you. Number 4, I think.
Cool.
Couple of notable items in the bag were 3 or 4 16 gauge shells, all cardboard. Like
really?
the Dominion Canuck stuff that came out in 1915 and stopped being produced in the early 1960s. So it's anywhere. I don't know exactly when it was made, but it's from that era. All cardboard and there's a cardboard cap on top of the shot, and then the cardboard hull is rolled, crimped over top of that. Is it ever neat? So I've added those to the collection. Lots of surplus 303 British from different manufacturers. There's even one of the machine gun rounds. I forget what it's called. Maybe it's not Mark 7, but something 7. If it has a 7 on it, you need to be aware that it's older machine gun 303, not your rifle 303. A lot of Dominion Arms stuff from the 50s. Some of the boxes in really, really good shape considering the ammo and the box was produced in the 50s. So that's like commercial available ammo. It says right on it, smokeless powder, non-corrosive primer. And then I've got one box that's probably from the 40s or 50s, and it specifically says this is corrosive primer, blah, blah, blah. I pulled one of the older and 303 rounds thinking it was going to have the long sticks of gunpowder inside, but it wasn't old enough to have that. It was just your regular stick powder. I also thought it was going to have a Berdan primer, but it didn't. This one box that I have, and I might keep it, like the entire box is in excellent shape. The ammo, it's a full box of original ammo. It's probably worth something to a collector, not like a lot of money, but it's still in really good condition, and it's all there. And it says Berdan primer and corrosive and stuff like that on it. Also got a bunch of 30-06 from 1942, and it is filthy confirmed that this stuff would definitely be corrosive. So bored today, and I wanted 50 rounds of it. I'm like, hey, this is going to be Garand safe ammo, but I'm not putting corrosive ammo through my Garand. So I went about pulling the bullet, dumping the powder into my little pan for my scale, popping out the primer, and then processing the brass. I removed the crimp around the primer pocket, and then I set up my case trimmer so that they would all get trimmed identical. Like I just picked one, and anything longer than that gets trimmed back to that length, so they all get trimmed the same. And uniform the primer pocket, deburr the flash hole, put in a fresh non-corrosive Winchester primer, dump the powder back in, put the bullet back on, and did some of those up today. So now it still looks like old original 1942 ammo, which looks kind of cool, but is safe for the gun. So
well, that's cool. That sounds like a lot of work, but cool.
Well, it's about 5 minutes around, to be perfectly honest. So it is very time consuming, but they're perfectly good components. Why
waste them?
I can't. Yeah. I can't shoot this because it's corrosive. And then Pierre-Luc said, do the nail test. And I had forgotten what the nail test was. You take a steel nail, you drive it into a piece of wood, you pull apart the bullet, dump out the powder, put the round on the nail, hit the primer so it goes off, and then leave it sit there for a couple of days and then check the nail. And you'll definitely have confirmation that they were corrosive primers.
Unless the nail's just going to rust on its own anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the nail would already be rusted then.
So you'd need a second nail for control.
Okay. All right.
Gonna have
If I
to do
take
this
a
scientifically.
non-rusted, if I take a nail that's been sitting in my basement for years, and all of a sudden I expose
it
it to
could
this
spontaneous rusting.
yeah, okay.
Could happen.
It's like,
It could happen to
you're
you.
right.
It's New
Yeah,
Brunswick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stranger things have happened. All right. Next.
Thanks for blowing right into the mic, though. That was great.
You're quite welcome. Did it hurt your ears?
Not even a little bit.
I would be happy to do it again, only I don't want to annoy the listeners. You I have no problem knowing, though.
All right.
Adriel, what have you been up
Yep.
to?
So the whole of next week, I'm going hunting. So when you guys hear me I'll have even crappier internet the next time you guys talk to me.
That's not doing too bad tonight.
Yeah.
You know, it's
You haven't dropped.
I'm able to upload fine. It's just the download for whatever reason. I just did a speed test. I'm getting screaming speeds. Whatever, not gun related. I'm going hunting next week. I've got. I went and picked up some new burners and controls because I'd like to kind of pimp out my jerky making machine and get it working a little bit better. I got a bunch of chips. My Tika's already out at where I'm going hunting, so I'm good to go on that side. And hopefully we'll get some deer and do up some jerky and all that jazz.
I'm
Cool.
going Saturday. It's the last day. I didn't buy a license. I'm not even going to bother. And if we see 2 deer, I'll be really upset with myself. But yeah, Muffin's taking me out Saturday.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm going to get something. It's going to be good. Not like last year.
Right.
What about you, Kelly?
I didn't go to the range. I went and had a girls' weekend with Stacy from the Armed Squirrels. So we had a great time last weekend. But one of the things that
Hold on. She and a friend drove all the way to Canada to build a fort with you?
yes, hmm
You guys, I know it's not gun related, but you should have seen the pictures of this fort if you haven't. They were Facebooking me
okay,
these
you
things.
know
like-
what?
It took up like the whole room.
It was awesome.
They took the lamppost, put it in the middle of the room, and like made this like
It was-
tent.
Yeah, it was like the circus tents with the
Yeah.
pole and it's exactly like that. We had the
Ridiculous.
greatest time, and we were sitting there getting our. So I wasn't going to talk. Well, we were sitting there and having pedicures done in the room because that's what we paid for, anyways. So the girls that were doing our pedicures thought we were absolutely crazy.
Well, you
and
Which you
yeah.
are, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's 4 ladies there, and we all do Appleseed, and we all own guns and that. So we were talking about all this, and the 2 girls looked at us like we were crazy, and they were asking, "Do you guys actually are you police officers, or what do you do? You're talking about these guns?" And we're going, "No, we just like to shoot." And they thought we were crazy, but it was fun. They started asking us some questions and that too, so it was pretty cool. But it got, we got a chance to hang out and talk about doing some stuff about going to, Waco, Texas. We're going to go down there. And also
Why
about
does that name
Michigan.
sound familiar.
What? Waco?
Waco, yeah.
Waco. Something in history. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, there's a boot camp that's going to be happening down there for.
I'm sure there is. Yeah. If it's run by
Yep.
somebody named Koresh, I want you to come right home.
No, it's Tim Crosna's going though. So
That's
you know
bad
what?
enough.
Yeah, exactly. So no, we're going to go down there and do that. But in February, there's a boot camp too down in Michigan, and Stacy wants us to go down to that. I don't know, Texas in January or Michigan in February.
Yeah, Texas. Sorry, Stacy.
Yeah, it's going to be cold. Maybe we'll go. I don't know. Anyways, but we had a great time, but we didn't go to the range. It was one thing that no shooting, so it was too bad.
But you got to freak out your esthetician ladies, so that's
Yeah.
good.
They thought we were hilarious, though. Anyways, Gunny Girl Calendar was working on that all week, and it's going to be out for Christmas, so stay tuned. But yeah,
For the listeners that don't know, who's putting this out?
It's the CCFR, so the Canadian Coalition for Firearms Rights, are putting out a Gunny Girl Calendar. It's very classy, by the way. Yeah, of course, because Kelly, the classy one.
Yeah, and I wasn't even like trying to sound sarcastic. I was trying to, when I said of course, I meant it in a very sincere way.
We're known for being the classy ladies, so yeah, and I mean that. I'm not being sarcastic. But yeah, it's going to be up for Christmas, so we're just finalizing that. We were reviewing all the submissions. We did get a ton of them, so thank you everybody who did submit for them. I didn't see anything from Adriel in a banana hammock, nor did I see anything from Matthew or Trevor. Thanks, guys. That's
because we're not girls.
Well, you guys said you were going to submit.
I know I never said no such thing. I don't even own a banana hammock anymore.
I've got the right mustache for it now.
You do.
You
That's
have the
awesome.
right mustache for a 70s porn.
Very 70s. What else to do? Oh, yeah. So Maple Seed, we're going to be doing a closed event on the 26th, so we're planning for that. And Rick Kettebeck, you guys remember Rick from the charity shoot?
Of course.
Yes.
Okay. He's going to be coming to Kingston to help run that, and we're going to teach some Canadians about the marksmanship program. And once we get that under our belt, see how it goes, we might have a few more events. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, remember I was telling you guys about the United Way auction at my work?
No.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Just like we did notice last time you got your hair cut. Come on, man.
I know. Anyways, the range day. Those people are actually stopping me in the... Go ahead.
Yeah, you offered up the range day as a prize, right?
Right. One for just ladies and then one for anybody, right?
Awesome.
So people are actually stopping me in the hall saying that they can't wait. They're going to... it's online, so they're going to sit in front of the computers and until 12 o'clock noon and put in the winning bid. They want to know how much it's going to, what the approximate prize cost is for this day at the range and that as well. But also people are stopping me to ask for where they can get memberships at ranges and Ontario, it's like you can't get into any ranges here. Membership or waiting lists are like huge, or they're closing out waiting lists. So people are asking about those, if I can give them any hints on that. They're asking about where they can get cheap ammo and accessories and different things like that. So it's really, people are starting to talk about guns at work, which is kind of weird because of where I work. But anyways.
Aren't there guns at your work?
There's lots of them.
So why is it weird to be talking about...
Because we don't, inside the walls of a prison, we don't really talk about guns.
Because Ontario.
Because Ontario.
Exactly. Trust me, they talk about guns at Mo's work.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
Yep.
Anyways. So, yeah, it's got people coming up to me and saying, hey, can you tell me, where can I get a good deal on this and that? So it's kind of cool. Anyways, yeah. But I didn't do any shooting this week, so that's too bad.
Yeah, it is too bad.
Too busy getting your nails done.
Yeah, they look cool, though. They're red.
As long as they look cool.
All right, that's it for me.
All right, cool. Upcoming events, we have the Active Killer Defense course on Sunday, December 4th in London, Ontario. People can sign up through fireartsolutions.ca or activekillerdefense.com, and that's defense with an S for our American listeners. Wait, for our Canadian listeners, because our American listeners will already know how to spell defense. But here in Canada, we do it wrong.
Or right.
Well, in this case, see, usually I'm one to argue for Canadian spelling, but in this case, I like the S better. But anyway, whatever. I'm not neither American or somebody who's going to ever be American, probably. So, what do I care?
You don't care.
I don't. Other than that, nothing else is coming up new. So if you have an event that you'd like us to talk about, send it in, and we will plug it every week. In the news, who's got these news articles?
I put in the first one. Action Shooting Radio podcast that I used to be on. It used to be myself and Mo and Pat Harrison, and then Mo left, and it was Chris Rakowski, and then I left, and now it's just Pat and Chris Rakowski. They're doing Action Shooting Radio again, so there's at least 3 new episodes that have come out over the last month and a half or so. Mm-hmm. So if you were a listener of Action Shooting Radio, they are back. And if you unsubscribed thinking they were dead, resubscribe. And check them out. It's good to have a Canadian podcast that is come back to life, unlike that one in Quebec. Which, or that Bolivar guy who killed his.
Right.
Hey, they had another show, not recently.
No. I said his show, not Kowalski's show that he lets Bolivar come on to. Modern Rifleman Radio. I mean, Modern Rifleman Radio would have been great with him and Kevin and Tim, but and Dave Cracky. Dave Cracky was an excellent podcaster.
Yes, he was.
But no, he said it's too much work, so I'm just going to go be on Ken's show now, and then let that one fall apart. That's cool. It's cool. They know I'm joking mostly.
Probably.
I hope so.
Probably. Or not.
You
Whatever.
will be hung up on tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And he got me. After I got Ken, he called and he got me, the son of a gun. He sucked me in the same way I sucked Ken in.
Good for him.
Yeah, I was proud of him.
All right. Well, I think Age will put in this other one.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that Canada Ammo's got that Nork non-corrosive 7.62 by 39. So if you've got like this for a while now, we've had lots of cheap corrosive. We've always had cheap corrosive 7.62 by 39 in Canada. Well, not always, but most of it. And now they've got this non-corrosive that's back in. So if you don't really want to clean your gun, or if you got a VZ and you don't want to clean it, maybe you've got a scoper on it or something like that. You don't want to have to take it apart all the time. The Nork non-corrosive is there. It's more expensive than in what it used to be, definitely, but it's still the cheapest non-corrosive you can get anywhere.
Well, Canada Ammo was selling Dominion brand non-corrosive 7.62 by 39, and you could get it in either full metal jacket or jacketed hollow point with a lead core. Mm-hmm. So it was, in my opinion, suitable for hunting. It was lead, wasn't steel core, and it was a jacketed hollow point. And when that stuff was selling for just basically pennies more than what the corrosive stuff was selling for. The only problem I had with it was it didn't run well in the LAR mags, those 10-round 7.62 by 39 mags. We got a bunch of them for our NEA 39 uppers. So myself, McIntyre, Filthy, Snuffleupagus have got mine now. We all bought these NEA 7.62 by 39 AR-15 uppers, and they're accurate, really, really accurate. But the Dominion brand ammo didn't want to run in them, and I come to find out later it wasn't a lacquered case like Surplus, and it was dragging inside the mag, which was causing the follower to not come up correctly, and the rounds would nosedive. Put in the Norinco stuff or the corrosive lacquered stuff, and the problem went away. So it didn't work well in that, but I've still got a case on hand for the day that I get a VZ in 7.62, and unfortunately I'll be restricted to those 5-round mags, but I know it'll run in those. The mag construction is different, and of course it'll run all day in an SKS, God help me. But anyway, it's like $400 a case, and you compare that to corrosive last year was $250.
Yeah, it's definitely more expensive, but I mean, corrosive, you've got to clean out, barrel, bolts, piston, and with non-corrosive, you just, your cleaning schedule doesn't have to be that regimented. You can go out shooting and you don't have to get home and immediately start cleaning it. Whereas if you shoot corrosive and you get home and you leave it in a case for a week or something like that, you're going to be looking at some rust when you get back to that gun.
Yeah, I don't mind paying the same as you do for 5.56 if you don't have to clean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Thanks.
Well, why don't we move into our main topic?
So now we had with us Ryan and Del from the Newcomb Gunworks 3-gun shooting team. Welcome to the show, guys.
Oh, thanks for having us. Thanks for having us. Good to be here.
Yeah, so tell me maybe a little bit about Newcomb Gunworks, because I haven't heard about it until I met you guys.
Well, we're just a one-man show in my garage with a Dremel and a Dream. Basically, if you can look it up on Brownells and watch the video on YouTube, I can do it. Cool. We're just trigger work, stuff like that, just minor repairs.
And do you guys have a platform that you're specializing in right now, or something that you're really familiar with?
The ARs and most striker-fired pistols.
Okay, cool. Have you done a trigger job on an FNS yet?
No, I have not.
Oh, there's not many people that know how to do that, and out of the box, the trigger is terrible.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
I don't think I've had a chance to fire them, but I heard they're good guns too.
Yeah. Well, and they've got an interesting thing with the 40 mags with them, because the 40 cal mags, they've got these dimples along the side. where they'll stop 40, so you put 10 rounds of 40 cal in there and it'll stop them. But you put 9 mil and they kind of go right through the middle there.
Really?
So
kind of like a Glock 35 or a Glock.
Beretta 96
Yes,
too.
yes, yeah.
Something similar to that, but
I've heard of guys trying that. Some success.
I'll show
The
you guys
liability, I'm guessing, isn't all right up there, but
I'll show you my FNS afterwards, and you can.
That
try
sounds
it.
good.
Yeah. So I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about the state of the 3-gun in Canada. So like, where do you guys shoot? What kind of clubs are out there, and that kind of thing. You guys obviously come out to Chaz, right?
yeah, we shoot at Chaz, I guess, and Saskatoon just built a brand new range, and it's a beautiful range. They put a lot of money into it, and they've, I think I see a lot of support there. But we shot in BC, and like you said, in Edmonton,
Lone Butte,
Lone
the
Butte.
Redneck. Basically the biggest shoot in Canada right now. We had just about 100 competitors last
And
this
where's
summer.
that?
Lone Butte, BC. It's near 100 Mile House.
Okay.
And it's a fantastic. Brian McCoy and put on a fantastic show. 2-day shoot. So if you have a bad couple stages, I think we shot 10 stages. So you get some time to make it up. I didn't really manage to do that this year, but we'll try it again next year.
Yeah, I gotta do a lot of work before that time comes again for next year. But it was really enjoyable, and a lot of learned a lot from what from everyone that was shot there. The guys you shot with, you picked up a lot of stuff that you didn't know.
It's neat to see how much talent there is actually out there throughout the country and in some smaller places that are you never hear of. And there's a couple guys that are getting their videos out there on YouTube and stuff and shining some light on the sport. So it's good to see. Hopefully it's an even bigger turnout next year. And then, like Del was saying, in Saskatoon, they have what should be the largest 3-gun match in Western Canada, if not Canada, will be the Prairie Fire match on June 10th and 11th, I believe. And they're expecting maybe possibly 150, 200 shooters. They have prizes from one of our sponsors, Wolverine Supplies. Sounds like Vortex might get on board. Dylan Precision with their, I think, an XL 650 press. They're going to be great prizes. Sounds like a couple rifles, some Daniel Defenses and stuff like that. So.
Sounds like a big shoot.
It should be a really good time, and it'll shine light on how great their facility is. So we're looking forward to that one. That one's on the calendar.
Yeah. I think one of the limitations here at this range, well, other than today where we don't have a deviation in place, is just the amount of stages you can have, right? You can't have that many stages, so it kind of limits how many shooters we can have out here. If we have 20 or 30 shooters, it's fine. If we have 40 shooters, it drags the day on way too long.
Yeah.
Chokes it up.
Yeah. Well, we just need more bays and more shooting to happen, more stages, right? Just trying to jam them into that 100 yard is limiting. Yeah.
Well, the guys here, they're trying their best, and I think some guys' hands are pretty much tied. But I tip my hat to Trevor and all the guys, all the other volunteers and ROs that try to make this thing a go. It takes a lot of work.
I think a lot of guys forget the fact that a lot of this stuff is volunteer work. It takes a lot of stuff, a lot of energy to try to make something like this go. But I do see a lot of, you see a lot of new faces and a lot of people that are interested. So I think it's going forward, but it's an uphill battle. I think for a lot of the issues to deal with ranges and stuff like that. So
yeah. Sure. So what kind of gear you guys running?
Well, we're both firing. We're using striker fired pistols. I shoot an M&P.
I got the XDM, the Smith or the Springfield XDM. So it's a pretty readable firearms to get your hands on.
Relatively inexpensive compared to the 1911 and 2011 platforms and possibly the CZ Shadow 2s and whatnot like that. And then for our shotguns, we both shoot Benellis. I fought it for a long time, chugging through it with a Mossberg, and it was a good gun, and it treated me really well. I just figured if you can't beat him, join him and jump on Team Benelli.
Once he's seen how well I shot my gun, which is unbelievable. He had to jump ship, eh?
And then our rifles this year, we got demo rifles from Wolverine Supplies. I shoot the Armalite M15 3-gun edition. and Dell shoots the Daniel Defense V11 Pro. Both are fantastic handling and super soft shooting, although very noisy.
Yeah, with that Armalite brake, it's your...
you don't make a lot of friends beside you at the range, but they definitely know you're there. And then double alpha belts, and
well, with that, and I guess you got the Blade Tech stuff, all the
mag pouches
and
holsters.
Yeah,
and then you use a carbon arms pinwheel for your shotgun shells, and I use the Invictus 2.8 shell caddies, and I've been really liking them. Was shooting fully open with Arredondo speed loader setup, which I've changed to quad loading.
So are you out of open now?
No, I'm still open. We found it maybe from a strategical standpoint to not all shoot in the same division as teammates. We have a third teammate, Drew Kruger, who couldn't be here. He's transitioning to the limited division, so next year we'll have a competitor in limited, TAC Ops, and open. It's just a way to gain exposure for our sponsors and have 3 people fighting for 3 possible first place finishes rather than all of us competing against each other. And you're essentially competing against each other.
Yeah.
Just using a little bit different gear how to do it, right?
Yeah, definitely. You said you were running the speed loaders with your Mossberg before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really liked them. It's just when you had to, a little bit cumbersome when you had to run and duck under barrels, and some of the more tactical stages that we seem to find here in Alberta are a bit more tactical, and so when you got that thing strapped to your leg, you've got a bit of a peg leg happening, so
yeah,
tough to be graceful.
And you got to be able to count your rounds too, because it's not, you can't just shove 2 in and pull that speed loader back out and put it away. You got to have that full completely empty gun to use it properly. I think to get the value out of it. So
being limited to 6 rounds in your tube, you got to be able to count.
Yeah, that's why this quad loading. I mean, it's 4 at a time, and I guess you can kind of pick and choose when you load. You're not 6 at a time or whatever. You got to kind of use that 6. It's got to be empty. So that's kind of where I find this is you can load twins or you can load quads. So it's maybe a little easier for on the brain to try to count or type thing or whatever. So
it's really nice to top up as well, right?
For sure,
because you can grab that duel if you if you know you're heading into
and if you exactly.
You wouldn't think it's that hard to count to 6.
Well, when you know what I find when that buzzer goes.
Me and my 3-year-old are going to work on that this winter, and he's maybe going to be able to teach me. It's like, Dad, after 5 comes 6.
No, when that buzzer goes off, I find everything that you've thought about and tried to practice in the walkthroughs just goes out the window. So it's that adrenaline kind of takes over your brain function. It's kind of tough to count. So
yeah. Do you guys do any competitions in the States?
Not yet. We're planning on hopefully shooting a couple. It's becoming so popular in the States. They open the registration on Practice Score at say 9 a.m. Central Time. And literally, these shoots will fill up in 4 minutes.
Yeah,
a lot of them. And a lot of it, they've turned to a lottery system where you have a half hour to get your name in, and then they'll pick it. So we got a couple on our radar. One in Minot, North Dakota, possibly one in Montana, and maybe the Ironman in Parma, Idaho, put on by MGM Targets.
Yeah, that one's supposed to be good. There's also a night shoot that they do.
Surefire night shoot?
Yeah, actually, a friend of mine, probably one of the top shooters in Canada, Jeff Barron, just competed in the Surefire USPSA Nationals out there somewhere near Vegas. I think it was in Boulder. And he had a heck of a good finish. He got, I think, 17th TAC Ops out of possibly 150, 200 competitors. So he's a tough guy to beat, and it's a guy everyone should be checking out on YouTube and watching for him. He's one of the better shooters in Canada.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Who are the other better 3-gun shooters? Because I mean, like, there's not really a lot of big spotlight on the sport.
I mean, I'm really good. So
Del Zimmer there, he's a wild card.
If I can get my ducks in a row in every shoot, I win every one of them. I tell you what. But no, there's a lot of good kid talent out there. To put a spotlight on anyone is It's tough. I'd say
if you had to name a few, there's a couple guys in northern Alberta that are really making some really good strides for the sport of 3-gun as well. Jason Carver is one fella's name, and he goes by the handle of Tuna. So check him out on Facebook. If you Facebook search Tuna, you'll find Mr. Tuna and Chachi.
Some good videos there.
I'm not sure what his real name is, but yeah, he's a heck of a shooter. And he's actually part of a team up there as well.
Are they in Peace River?
Yeah, and that Mighty Peace 3-gun.
Okay.
So he's
Control Tactical, I think.
Control Tactical, and they're tearing it up north there. So we haven't crossed paths with them, but we're hoping. Sounds like they might come down to Saskatoon, and they might hitch a bus or a couple RVs up and make it out to BC. So it's nice to shoot against some super competitive guys, and it lets you know exactly where you stack up and what you got to work on. Mm-hmm. Which is, we always say jokingly, if we could just shoot the pistol and the rifle and the shotgun better, we'd be pretty good.
We'd be pretty good, yeah. If a guy could be good in every gun, he'd be a really good shooter. Well, hindsight's 20/20 as well.
And it turned down the suck.
Yeah. Well, I like when you guys come out here because I'm pretty competitive with most of the guys here at the club, but when you guys come out, it's clearly like there's another level of shooter out there.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you.
You get to see how it should be run and how fast we should be running these stages, right? It's a little bit hard to do that if everyone around you is about the same speed as you.
Yeah,
right?
it's all learning. It's like I said, the sport's growing. So I mean, the more exposure, the more shoots you get to go to, and the same guy. If the same guys come to the shoots, you continually get better. Like I remember our first shoot, it was slow. Like we were probably the slowest guys of anyone. So and it's just the more you do it, the more proficient you get at your guns and everything. It just it kind of all comes in stride. So.
How long ago did you guys start?
3.
This is the end. This will be probably conclude our third year. This shoot today. So yeah, we're really looking forward to 2017. We got a few new sponsors on the line that we've confirmed, and a few more we're in negotiations with. So we're hoping to shine some light on that side of the sport, much like it is in the States, where maybe a guy can shoot and be somewhat compensated. I don't know if we'll ever get to the point where we get paid like Jerry Mitchellak, and that's a million years away until we're that good.
Yeah.
a million years
rounds.
And then 3 trillion rounds later.
Yeah.
We got this.
Yeah.
No, but we want to see it grow, so it's like the States, and it's fun. It's fun to be out here with the guys. That's what it is.
It is. That's a big part of it, is socializing and the.
You're racing against everybody, but I come out here and I try to beat myself every time. Like I made 7 mistakes on my last shoot. I only want to make 6 this time, or 5. And I just, if you can start eliminating some of your mistakes, you'd be surprised how fast much faster your times get and how much better your scores get.
Yeah, I always try to work on whatever's I'm sucking at the most.
Exactly. We did some pretty good practice before that BC shoot. And then we thought, well, geez, I should, if I do everything right here, I should be in pretty good shape. But you put the stresses of watching someone else shoot it very well, and that just weighs on a guy. And then all of a sudden you get out there and you're making mistakes, you drop mags, you're dropping shells. It's a whole different game when you put that kind of stress on a guy too. So
and that's where it's nice with some of these bigger shoots, and hopefully you can make it to these with come out with Trevor or whoever else can come, and it ups your game. When if you shoot around slower shooters all the time, you're not learning. You're not learning. But if you're pushing yourself, watching everybody else burn it down, you'll make mistakes. But you have to make those mistakes in order to learn. And if there's probably a better way to learn, but that's how I learn.
Yeah, there's no better way to learn than at a match, though. Too, you can't replicate that stress of shooting. At the range by yourself. If there's 20 guys or 40 or 100 guys watching you type thing, it puts a lot more stress on a guy, and it really tests your abilities, I guess. So it's definitely a different stress.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see more like standardization of the clubs around here too, because I think I know that there was a club in southern Alberta that was running 3-Gun Nation, but I'm not sure if they're doing it anymore.
Yeah, we got a little bit off course there. Yeah, we shot a 3-Gun Nation match in June in Lethbridge at the Chinook County Shooters,
something like that. Yeah,
at the Chinook Gun Range.
Yeah,
fabulous facility and nice. and it was a lot of Three Gun Nation qualifier courses, which are a lot of fun. A lot of static shooting, but it's to build confidence in it, and then they work up to regional and some outlaw, what they call outlaw style or stages, and it was a great time in Lethbridge.
A lot of good shooters there too.
Yeah, there are some very good shooters down there that you never even heard of, and all of a sudden, whoa.
Yeah.
They pop up from the States and kick everyone's butt.
Not so much the States, just Canadian shooters, but guys you don't see them on you don't see any in the social media. You just kind of all of a sudden you get there and it's like, holy, you're not you're behind the power curve a little bit in some of them stages, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Are there any other clubs that you know of that are doing it?
Yes. Oh, sorry. Geez, yeah. I guess earlier in the year I shot in Prince Albert.
Yeah.
At the Prince Albert Rifle and Gun Range. And Ben Hunter puts that on. Another great shooter. He's another one of the top shooters in Saskatchewan. Ben puts on a fantastic match. And it's a lot of work, like everyone that puts on these matches knows. So got to give a shout out to Ben. He does a great job of keeping it going, and look forward to shooting with him every spring. They run about a match a month, but with full-time jobs in the oil patch plus farming, we make it to as many as we can as possible while still maintaining a job and a marriage and
trying, right?
Get the crop off.
Yeah, getting the crop off.
Getting the crop off. Well, this year's especially.
Quite a year.
Yeah. What's your local range? What range do you guys usually shoot at?
Actually, usually it's Saskatoon, I guess, is kind of what we try to get to.
I belong to two ranges, the Provost Gun Club in Provost, Alberta, and Roberts, which is an indoor range in the kind of the dungeon, I call it, in the basement of an old CN rail train house.
Station house,
and it's about 8 feet wide and 8 feet tall and 20 yards long. Single bay with a little exhaust fan off of an old stove, I think, and one flickering light. So
a lot of time by yourself.
You shoot the rats out of there, but I blasted thousands of rounds in there this winter. So looking forward to hitting that this winter. Tough to shoot the pistol; you can't feel your fingers. So they got a little heater in there, so it works.
Yeah, well, that's really cool. That's a good way to keep up on your pistol work, is everything else is frozen over.
You know what though? I find a lot of people don't. Maybe lots of people do it, but a dry fire practice in your basement with a safe gun. I find you get way more practice out of that gun. You can't always make it to the range. You don't have time, or maybe you don't want to make time to get there. But it takes nothing to throw the belt on and your empty guns and practice in the basement or light plugs or whatever.
My light switches and plugins have been clicked at a lot. That's for sure. And a guy doesn't realize that there's so much of three gun that isn't shooting.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with shooting. How you place in your time, and it's your movement, your mag changes.
And the mental aspect of it is trying to remember what
where you need to go, and movement, and moving fluidly and smoothly, and it's something that by no means have either of us mastered.
No, that's for sure not.
But it's the best, and it doesn't cost you $1.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost you a cent in ammo, and people should do more of it, and just so you know your gun, so when you draw your pistol, you're not looking for your red dot, or you're not looking for your front sight. It's just there. Yeah. It's second nature, and the same thing with dummy rounds on your shotgun, like whether you load a strong hand or weak hand, or load twins or load quads, or with speed loaders, is you do that with dummy rounds in your basement where it's safe, or in your garage or your shop, and you just do that. Just learn the functionality of your gun and how to handle it, be proficient. And
there's no replacement for live fire.
No, there's.
But to get the fundamentals down, I think it's it's key. It's a major thing the guy's got to do to learn and be proficient with your firearms.
Yeah, well, definitely with the shotgun and shotgun loading, because most people when you're loading a shotgun, you're like duck hunting or something. Yeah, right? You got like shells loose in your pocket.
You got a handful of shells. You try to get them in the gun where it's like
putting them in backwards.
Yeah. Whereas, like especially quad loading, like you can need some dexterity for that.
And you find out how many times you can tear your thumbnail off before
You bring that shotgun down to Newcomb, we'll smooth that out.
yeah, for sure.
Is your M2 bad for catching your thumb?
Not anymore.
Not since.
What thumb? I don't have a thumb anymore. Yeah, no, it's we did some work to it and opened it up a little bit and put a different lifter in it, a Terran lifter. So it's smoother, but it definitely makes a huge difference. For sure.
Yeah, my buddy's got one of the Versamaxes, the 3.5 inch, and that thing's bad. It's got
to
work on it. Yeah, it's just made to get your thumb.
Just big enough to kind of squeeze that thumbnail and pull it right off. It's pretty good for that.
I got a picture of my Instagram, and it's like I should put the caption: "If you ain't bleeding, you ain't training." Because holy, wow, did I slice myself open? And I just started at practice. I live on an acreage, so I practice a lot with the shotgun, and we don't break the law that way. We can shoot trap and all that until the cows come home. And we should be way better shotgun shooters than we are, that's for sure. But I cut myself, and my kids were napping. Oh, it was down to my own little range, and I just had to keep shooting, and I could feel the blood just coming out of the end of my finger. I had blood on my face. Boom, boom, boom.
This is fun.
Came in the house, and my wife's like, "Did you just shoot yourself?"
Yeah.
Well, that white rifle that I've got there, it's had blood on it before too.
Yeah.
It happens, right? I mean, you're running your equipment, and you get snagged on an edge or something like that, or hit the VTAC and cut your finger or whatever. Yeah.
That was the end of the Redneck Tactical Tab.
Yeah, that's a catcher.
Was that a custom release that you had on there?
No, it's you buy them from Brownells. They're actually, I think everyone and 3-gun should have one on their gun. It's just a $25 piece of pressed aluminum or a stainless
steel, I think. Yeah.
And I cut my loading port so low on my Super Black Eagle so that those shells almost fall into the gun.
Yeah.
And just the way I slid my index finger over that, and I cut myself under the fingernail.
Oh. So that come off pretty quick, eh?
I was like, now we got an Arredondo one there tapped and screwed on there. So.
That one's not that one that you described there, that redneck one. That's not tapped and screwed?
No, you slide your forend off, and then it kind of fits.
It's not a permanent. It comes right underneath the forend.
Oh, I get you. Yeah. No, I like the tapped and mounted ones.
The red one the redneck one is actually a nicer piece because you have the entire length of your from your forend over your button, and you could tap it with any 3 of your fingers.
Yeah.
Where if you have a Terran button or another aftermarket button, it's kind of blocky.
It's bigger,
blocky, and it'll snag. It's not smooth on your hand where you transition off your stock and back. That redneck one is the cat's meow.
I do enjoy that. Yeah, it does make a difference.
I just maybe got a itty bit too aggressive.
Trying to go Ricky Bobby on it, hey?
Gotta go fast.
Yeah.
I want to go fast.
Yeah.
Yee.
So why don't you guys tell us about your sponsors and all that kind of thing, and where we can find you guys online as well, right?
Okay. Our sponsors for the 2016 season were Wolverine Supplies out of Virden, Manitoba. Great gun shop, heavy into the shooting sports, and pretty much if you can Google it, they can probably bring it into the country and get you shooting it. Next, first and foremost, Wasp Munitions. Our buddy Ray Stewart there in Sylvan Lake makes fantastic 9mm, 40, 45, some 223 and some 308. He's been instrumental and got this whole sponsored shooting thing kicked off for us, so we can't say thank you enough to Ray and Wasp for sure. And great ammo. Goes bang every time, and it's accurate. And it's about the cheapest stuff on the market.
Awesome.
And next, we got Vortex Optics. The 3 of us on our team are Vortex Canada pro staffers. So we're going down to SHOT Show in Vegas this year.
Oh, cool.
To represent Vortex. So we're
stoked about that.
Foaming at the mouth. Oh, got me!
Any little boy's dream.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we just had Reg from Vortex Canada on 3-4 weeks ago or something like that. So he was saying he's going to go down to SHOT Show as well. So you guys should see him.
Yeah,
bump some elbows.
We're gonna meet all those guys. We got Custom Protect gear out of Surrey. providing us with custom fit earplugs. Great. Awesome fit, awesome comfort. And we've been keeping this hush-hush, but we could probably let it go now. We're going to be factory shooters next year for Robinson Armament.
Okay, yeah.
Shooting the new XCR-L competition rifle. So we're super excited to have a factory shooter position with a company like Rob Arms and the XCR's appeal here in Canada, being non-restricted. So that'll really aid in our training and practice, and we can do a little bit of hunting with the rifle and not be breaking any laws. So we're really excited about that. And we just a few weeks ago signed on with Score, which is Prairie Shot Limited out of Carberry, Manitoba.
Yeah, they do like shot shells and that kind of thing.
Yeah, shotgun shells, slugs. They make trap loads, turkey loads, duck loads, goose loads, and everything in between. They even make custom loads. So we're super excited to be teamed up with Tom and Ishmael with Score. And we have a few others that we haven't quite closed the deal, so we're gonna unveil those on Facebook and Instagram when they happen here in the next month or so. No, we haven't quite sealed the deal.
Yeah. Well, where can people find you online? Are you guys
on Facebook? They can search Newcomb Gunworks, or they can just search our names, Ryan Barch or Del Zimmer or Drew Kruger, and then on Instagram for Newcomb Gunworks.
And then Del Zorm, I guess, on Instagram for myself. So.
Yeah, and on YouTube as well, especially YouTube. If you could, if you want to search Newcomb.
Newcomb?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. There's not really a lot of. There's not very many people who are Canadian gun YouTubers, right? So.
And that's. I wish they'd get more of that. When you punch in Canadian Tree Gun, you get some videos from back in 10 or something like that, 2010.
They just kind of pop out of the woodwork. So hopefully they come to the top of YouTube search engine. Hopefully we get, because there's a really good shooter in BC, Curtis Young. I think his handle on YouTube is Maverick 3-Gun. Or Maverick something, and he's got some really good videos, and he's how we found out about the redneck shoot in BC. It's like, holy, look at this is in Canada. Like, this looks like a US quality, US style shoot. Great stages, fast, fun, technical, some of them.
Yeah. I mean, if you look on YouTube, there's Edward Osborne's video
seen him on there too. Yeah, for sure.
That's how Edward. That's how found out about the Ironman in Parma, Idaho.
Yeah, he goes down with. He takes that MK 1919. I think he's got an act.
He shoots it to bore.
Too,
yeah, that's war.
Yeah. So that's a pretty neat firearm in its own right.
Yeah. Challenging to run on a VTAC, but very nice and compact.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I hope this shooting doesn't come through the recording too bad. But I wanted to thank you guys again for coming on the show and talking about 3-Gun.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having us. Appreciate it, man. You guys, if you get a chance, check out 3-Gun, man. It's about the most fun you can have with a gun.
Right about that.
Funner than shooting fish in a barrel. Not easier, but funner.
Well, I want to thank Adriel for stepping up and doing our main topic for us this week.
Yeah, sorry, it's a bit echoey in there, but you guys gave me this pro tip after I did it. You said, "Hey, dude, you should do it record in a car." I was like, "Oh, why didn't I think of that?"
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, cars are great spots to podcast from.
Yeah,
good
especially in July.
Yeah, with no air conditioning, with the windows rolled up.
After about 5 minutes, you know who's got a nice natural musk.
And it's none of us.
And who doesn't? Yeah. Yeah, you test the limits of your deodorant. You really do.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. So it was great to look over and see Owen's wife sitting in a nice air-conditioned car with the engine running.
Yes.
Yeah, that goes back to, that's the story that goes back to when we were on our way to Ontario for the charity shoot.
Yep.
And we were meeting Owen in a parking lot behind a Subway to get a printer.
I think it was a printer, yeah.
It was a printer.
Something
like
random
that. Thing. Yeah, printers are like $80, but we had to make this happen.
Yep.
And so we recorded.
Well, that was the only way to get together, too.
Yeah.
It worked out.
Yeah. Oh, it worked out great. We had a whole pile of microcasts that trip.
Yeah, we did. Anyway, speaking of microcasts, let's move into listener feedback.
Yeah.
That's a good segue, right?
It's a segue.
It's a segue. Well, I'll take this first one from Justin. He says, I just moved to Edmonton, starting a new job, and things are going great. However, I find myself without a gun range or a place to shoot. I was wondering which one Adriel is a member of in the area, since I can only find indoor ones in the city, and Spruce Grove, and the Spruce Grove one that is closing down. Everything else seems to be an hour or more away. Many thanks, and keep up the great work. P.S. Is someone poisoning Trevor or tainting his water with mind-altering substances? It seems like he's warming up to guns he hated before, such as the 1911s and milsurps. Either way, the last week's episode, the slightly curmudgeonly Trevor was funny. And that's from Justin. So
Whatever,
Trevor,
man.
you were finally funny, apparently. To Justin, I find you funny all the time, usually looking, but whatever.
It's taken many years, but I will rest well tonight knowing I'm finally funny to Justin.
Yeah. So I think Adriel, the question is to you. Where should he go for a gun club membership?
Sure, there's the Sherwood Park Fish and Game if you're on the east end of the city. That one will be closer there. If you're on the west end of the city, then you're looking at CHAS, the Canadian Historical Arms Society. That one does get you Tuesday nights at Phoenix as well. So if you want to do some pistol shooting during the winter, that'll give you an inexpensive option to get in there. And I think, well, yeah, I mean, if that's about all I could recommend. I mean, everything else is indoor, and I don't really like indoor. I don't mind it for just kind of warming up on pistol during the winter, but I'd much rather go outdoor.
Cool. Well, thank you for that. And since you're doing such a great job being eloquent right now, why don't you read this next one from Jerome?
Oh, I was hoping I wouldn't have to do those
Jeremy.
accents on there. Jeremy? Jeremy?
Jeremy.
It says Jerome to me.
Well, it's, those little squiggly lines on top of the letters, they mean something to my people.
Yeah, but there's no accent on the last E. You would need an accent aigu on the last E to make it sound like its own name, so it's Jerome. It's
Jerome.
silent.
Jeremy.
All right. Well, Jerome, write in and tell us how to say your name properly.
Of all the
without
things
it.
you're in charge of, French grammar rules are not one of them.
Please don't put me in charge of
Are
that
not
either.
one of them. Are you going to read this already, Adriel?
Yeah, okay, let's go. Dear Slamfire Radio hosts, I've been listening to your show since roughly episode 100, living in the Canadian capital of the easily offended by the general existence of white straight men, and of
Montreal.
I personally identify as a pangender velociraptor. It's nice to hear some common sense, be it from 1,000 kilometers away. On episode 180, I heard Trevor chastise Doc Wesson over his use of the term silencer, stating the correct term was suppressor. I am now a bit confused. In the majority of the literature I've read on the internet, cans are referred to as suppressors. However, as firearms trainer James Yeager said in one of his YouTube videos, Hiram Maxim first patented this sound-reducing device we are talking about as a silencer. So who's right? What am I missing? Also, I am considering for the first time selling a firearm. What do you guys and gal accept as a way of payment, and what do you
Cash.
deem secure and not secure, except beer, which goes without saying. Thanks again for the great show. Jerome from Montreal.
Okay, as far as internet commandos go, James Yeager is one of the biggest ones.
But I don't think Hiram Maxim is an internet commando, and
No.
he's the one that patented it as a silencer.
Yeah.
So did the inventor of the device get it wrong? I think is the question here.
I think it's like this. We call the AR-15 a modern sporting rifle because we need our own safe word for it. They call it an assault rifle, and we say, no, it's not an assault rifle. That's an ugly, violent word. It's a modern sporting rifle. Hollywood has created this persona that silencers really are silent and that the gun literally goes pew, pew, pew. Well, we know that that's not reality, so our enthusiasts and the industry has called them suppressors because they suppress the sound. They do not completely silence the sound.
So what you're saying is the politically correct term is silencer, but is suppressor, but the actual term is silencer.
Yes, and so...
So as somebody who is completely anti-politically correct, they are now silencers from now on to me.
There you go. If it was good enough for Maxim, it's good enough for Matthew.
Yeah, it's a quote.
Yep. No, I think we just made up the term suppressor to kind of come up with a more realistic name for what the device in fact does.
Interesting. That's a good theory. I'm not sure if it's how much water that holds, but it's a good theory. I like it. I'm going to stick with it myself.
The original term was silencer, but
yep. So
now every time somebody says silencer, whether it's jokingly or not, which of course I'd be the last person to try and put Doc Weston in his place. We jump on each other for silencer, just like we jump on each other for clip.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So you heard it here first, folks. We have no idea. Yeah.
What about selling the firearm?
Selling a firearm, I accept personally. They pay before you send the gun, and EMT is how I do it.
EMT is king. But I mean, I'll really take anything that's secured other than the check. You can send me a bank transfer.
Well, you can send me a check. It's going to clear before I send you the gun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And until I have money in my account, you're not getting the gun. And that's basically the only way you have to
check.
do it.
I wouldn't take a check either. I would take a money order.
Yeah, a money order makes more sense.
But PayPal, if they're going to cover the fee, and EMT.
EMT every single day. Everyone in Canada uses debit. It's easy. Yeah. Now, if you're selling on CGN, Jerome, one thing you might find is that no one wants to buy your gun if you've got a trader rating of 0. So you may have to provide like overwhelming proof that you're a real person and that this is a real gun that you're selling. So just be prepared for that because most of the sellers on CGN
Adriel goes in the bathroom and takes selfies like gangsters in front of the mirror with the gun. See my face, see the gun, see me point the gun at the mirror.
What I did when I was on CGN at first is I bought a bunch of stuff to get my trader rating up. And once your trader rating is high enough, then you can start selling and people trust you.
You can also buy or sell from people who are local on CGN, right?
And just meet them face to face.
Yep. Yeah. And then you do your parking lot gun deals, and
that's right.
I mean, I'm not joking about that. You pay first through CGN, and you arrange to meet the person in like the parking lot of like a Wholesale Sports or something like that, and you swap
Bring
guns.
A friend.
And that's
never go alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And of course, you're expected to do your due diligence with regards to confirming licenses.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, and it's a way to cover your butt as well in the transfer because if you ask for the guy's license or girl's license or whatever, and they give you like a fake one or something like that, or one that doesn't match their name that they gave or something, that's one more confirmation point for you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good advice all around. Kelly from Clayton.
Yep. Hey, SFR. I was wondering if you folks could point me in the right direction regarding 3-gun gear. I really enjoyed the episode with Dave from the 3-gun show, but I was hoping you guys would have discussed some Canadian-specific 3-gun gear you guys usually bring to a match. 3-gun modification, mag pouches, holsters, belts, caddies, etc. I'm hoping to buy some gear over the winter for the next season, and your help would be much appreciated. All the best, Clayton. P.S. Trevor, would you quit knocking the flower beds at my range? Last time I checked, chicks dig flowers.
Kelly, do you dig flowers?
Yeah,
of course you dig them. How else do you plant them?
Kelly, yeah. Oh, thank you, Matthew.
Yeah.
Matthew is the
You can just stop right there. Fantastic. Thank you, Trevor. When you're done having your stroke, you just let us know.
You're the autistic member of the cast. Definitely. Of course they dig flowers. How else do you plant them?
We have flowers at our range.
Super duper. Did you spend $40,000 on them?
No.
There you go.
Yeah. No.
So no, flowers are cool. $40,000 worth of flowers is excessive.
There better be some pretty cool flowers, or like poppies.
They weren't even that cool, man. I saw them.
Poppies.
Now, let me just say for reals here that it's none of my business what any range spends their money on. I'm entitled to my comedic opinion, and that's all this is. You really don't
care.
I really don't care. I'm just poking fun because it's funnier this way.
Sure.
So, Yeah,
I've
but
seen pictures. They're beautiful. That
I'm glad that we're spending more time on the PS than the actual email.
yeah, we should be
Three
talking
gun
about.
gear, flowers.
All right. All I'm going to say about the 3-gun gear is I learned at the last 3-gun match where these guys shoot a lot more 3-gun than we do, that they take the extended controls on their firearms, their long guns, as seriously as we do on our pistols. So if you're a NIPSC shooter and you're shooting like a standard gun or an open gun, you know you've got mag wells and you've got big honking safeties that you can rest your thumb on and all that good stuff. Well, they do the same with their long guns. The shotgun feeding port is completely opened up and beveled. The bolt release on the shotgun has got an extended button on it. The AR-15s, I don't know if there was any AR-15s that. Well, yeah, there was. Mine and Muffins were the only AR-15s without mag wells. You can get all kinds of different mag wells to bolt onto the lower receiver of your AR-15 that will funnel the magazine. It looks like a satellite dish. It's comical. It's so big. Also, bad levers of all kinds of shapes and sizes, and extended mag releases for the AR-15, because not everybody's finger is actually long enough to get onto the button, so they come up and back towards your hand. So I came away with definitely a wish list of little knickknacks. Like there's a new lifter you can get for the VersaMax. I didn't replace my lifter on my VersaMax. I had it welded to fill up the front. And the reason why they do that is because when you're speed loading it with your thumb, you can get your thumb caught between the lifter and the magazine tube. Well, one of the solutions is to weld the front of it, but that also gets rid of the crease, if you will, in the lifter that centers the shell on its way into the chamber. Well, there's a new lifter for the VersaMax. I don't know how new it is, new to me anyway, that has a cradle. Instead of welding the front is filled, but filled with a cradle that the shell has no choice but to ride on and get lifted into the center. So little knickknacks like that, there's really a lot of ways to trick out your long guns that I didn't know about and until I saw them. So that's my advice. Look at the extended controls for both your long guns. Anybody want to talk about maybe the belts?
Yeah, get a belt.
Get a belt. On the long gun there. On your shotgun, the charging handle isn't like on a semi-automatic shotgun. Your charging handle isn't as critical as your bolt release. The factory bolt releases on semi-automatic shotguns are tiny, and you definitely need an enlarged one to compete in that. And then after that, it's beveling out that the port, the loading port, and that kind of thing. Putting on an extended tube, of course, to max out your shell count. So there's definitely some mods on that side of things. In terms of belts, I think it depends on how many shotgun shells you have to run at your stage, because if your club is a high shot shell count club, you might need to run like a pile of shell caddies or even like a chest rig to be able to get enough of a shell count.
When every time somebody says chest rig and 3-gun, I do that noise. It just did because I watch a lot of professional 3-gun videos and I never see a pro 3-gunner with a chest rig.
There's tons of them.
Really?
What's her name? Jenna. What's her
Jenna
name?
Reeves?
Yeah, she runs a chest rig and she runs load 2s and was getting into quad. There's a really high ranking YouTube video on dual loading and quad loading that she's got where she's running from a chest rig.
Well, I'm not seeing these videos then. But I did say professional.
And it really depends on the club, right? Because
it does.
Some clubs are running
on the match director. Yeah.
Some clubs are running like a quote unquote normal count for shot shells, and they don't run that many. You might need to reload like let's say like 3 times, which you can run on a belt. It's just if your shot count is into the 30s or higher, then you definitely you're going to run out of room on a belt. If you also have to have your pistol and all your other stuff on your belt, you're going to run out. There's not going to be enough space. So
and I see the terms 3-gun and multi-gun thrown around synonymously, and in my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, 3-gun pertains to a match that includes rifle stages, shotgun stages, and pistol stages. Multi-gun refers to the sport of multi-gun that USPSA started, which includes up to all 3 firearms in the same stage. And if that's the case, then you're setting up different belts, because I know some people who shoot professional 3-gun where they've got a shotgun belt, a pistol belt, and a rifle belt, and one inner, and they strap on the belt they need for this particular stage. Where the type of multi-gun shooting that you and I and Matthew do, and Kelly's looking at getting into, is we got to carry it all on our belt. We need to have our shot shells, our rifle mags, and our pistol mags, and there's not a lot of real estate there, especially, as you said, if you have a club with the match director who likes heavy on the shot shell. When you get the front of your belt covered in shot shell from your holster all the way to the other side of from one hip to the other, doesn't leave a lot of room for pistol and
rifle and holster and all that kind of thing. Now, you described multi-gun and 3-gun. Now, the way I understand it, 3-gun is using all three during your stages. Some stages you might not be using one or the other kind of a thing, but the idea is you're using one or more during each stage.
I'm basing that on the term that USPSA uses on their rule book. They call it USPSA multi-gun, and the rules are specific to transitioning between firearms within the same stage. If you look at IPSC has 3-gun, but what an IPSC 3-gun match is if you do the grand, I think it's called Grand Slam, Grand Tournament. I don't. Anyway, what you do is you have 3 pistol stages, 3 shotgun stages, 3 rifle stages. Each is their own little match, and then there's some people think that IPSC scoring is convoluted. Well, there's an even more convoluted method of determining the winner of the overall match based on, the 3.
So I think 3-gun on that definition is like, that's a mixed IPSC craziness, because 3-Gun Nation, the most popular version of 3-gun through the U.S., that's multi-gun.
It is?
Yeah.
All right. Then I don't clearly know what I'm talking about, and we're going to cut this whole thing from the episode because it was a big waste of time. Moving on.
Well, no, it's just IPSC uses the word interchangeably, and they shouldn't. They should call it, I don't know, like a match where you get to shoot some gun. 3 guns.
Well, is 3-Gun Nation really more popular than USPSA multi-gun?
Oh,
well, that's the one that was on the TV and stuff, right? 3-Gun Nation, yeah.
Yeah, and they've got, they're geared specifically for that, and most of the bigger matches that I've seen have been 3-Gun Nation matches, not USPSA still has a really strong one, though. They've still got good matches. And I never hear about IPSC 3-gun matches.
No, because it's lame. Are you seeing people with plate carriers, chest rigs in 3-Gun Nation?
Well, I don't. I see it every once in a while out at my club. Some of the better shooters will have a chest rig, and that's specifically as an add-on. So they've got room on their belt, and they'll run their belt only if they can. But if they have a stage where the round count is super high, they'll run a chest rig because you can fit 30, 40 rounds onto your chest if you run a chest rig, right?
I don't know if this is true, but I was told that in IPSC, chest rigs for shotgun shells are prohibited, not allowed. And do you know what the rationale was? And again, I don't know if this is true, just passing it along. It's humorous.
Why?
But it looks like a suicide vest.
Really?
It looks like you're strapped with dynamite, yeah. You got to remember, this is a sport that won't let ROs who are shooters, who are acting as ROs, carry their own gun while ROing because of how it looks.
Yeah.
They got away with that in Florida, no less.
Yeah. Anyways, belts, get something nice and stiff, double alpha, that kind of thing. They're in Canada. They're $50-$60. They're awesome. Caddies, they're all expensive. So figure out what kind of shooting you want to do with them, because it's very easy to spend $200 to $300 on shot shell caddies. Mag pouches, super easy. Any whatever you've got and whatever you got available. You can run the Go Fast configurable pistol mag pouches, or you cannot. When it comes to the rifle ones, and this is not a Go Fast part, I'd like the double mag pouch for the AR. I've got a Blaytech one, and I don't like it because it's fast and easy to use. I like it because it's compact and because it only takes up one slot on my belt. I don't want a whole bunch of space being taken up by a bunch of tandem mag pouches. So that's nice that one stacks up. You don't need to change your mag in your AR that much, right? So it's okay to fumble for one mag change and then save that space.
Where are you if Clayton's shopping, where are you buying most of your stuff, Adriel?
Select Shooting Supplies has a ton of the Blaytech stuff. Blade Tech and Magpul and all those guys, they're prolific, right?
Yeah.
They're available at your local gun store and that kind of thing. So get that stuff if you can. The stuff that's harder to get, good gun belt. Like I don't see a lot of those around here. There's the Uncle Mike's garbage, but
you got to go to the IPSC stores. Like if you want Sierra Speeds, you go to Freedom Ventures in Halifax. If you want Ghost, go to Double Tap Sports in Ontario. Double Alpha may also be carried by Double Tap Sports. I've got my Double Alpha stuff directly from Double Alpha. They're overseas. I forget which country. One of the cool ones.
MD Gardner carries all their stuff too. Yeah,
MD Gardner, one of the founding members of IPSC, actually, Doc Murray. Holsters. We generally recommend at my club that you're going to use a holster, not a full-on race holster like the Sierra Speed or the Ghost Ultimate. You're going to want a more traditional Kydex style holster, something that is easy to reholster without any kind of the muzzle on the peg and then dip the trigger guard in, then lock it, because in some cases, depending on the club or the match director, you have the option of reholstering your handgun to move on. A lot of clubs have switched to putting out retention devices. I know I have, because it's just easier to apply a safety if you have it, drop it in the retention device and go. There's a lot less can go wrong dropping it into a shoebox than trying to reholster.
Do they have specific rules on retention levels for 3-gun?
Well, no, like in our club, no textile, no like crappy eBay textile, like universal holster garbage. Just like, and that's just because they suck. I mean, if you'll see people who got that one of those eBay holsters and comes out to a match and they're running back from whatever position they're shooting at, and there goes their pistol and drops on the ground, right? So we banned them. You can't use them at our club. You have to use something that's got a proper hold on the pistol. Now that can just be like a standard, Blade Tech holster or whatnot. You don't need like a level 2 with a strap on top or anything like that. Just a regular Blade Tech. Another advantage of that is that if you need to go prone or modified prone and grind your pistol into the dirt, it's at least going to cover over and keep it safer than like a race holster or something like that, right?
Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to talk to Clayton about, he's a new Patreon-y, so we'll give him a shout out later. But also when we were doing the show on Monday with Mark, we talked a lot about 3-gun gear, didn't we?
And I talked a little bit about it on the main topic with these guys as well. So we're kind of like sprinkling it everywhere right now.
It's 3-gun everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he can go back and listen, or can he?
Yes, he can.
Awesome.
Yeah. New Patreons can always go back and listen to old material.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I'll attach an article to this as well. I've got an article that talks about some of the common like mods and what's popular in Canada in terms of firearms and that gear and that kind of thing.
Fantastic. Well, if you, the listener, would like to send an email to the show, you can send it to slamfireradio@gmail.com. No new iTunes reviews this week. That's okay, though. We know you still love us. Right? You do still love us, right? Somebody should send us an iTunes review.
We need new love.
We need new love. We need our love to be ever
prolific.
Netflix show.
Something. Yeah. I don't know.
What's that, Kelly? Netflix and chill? What?
Exactly.
Okay.
I said it's a new Netflix show.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, I would
New love.
Yep.
It's all about guns and
shout-outs. Shout-outs?
Yeah, I got a shout out to Mark for coming on for our second special show. So he came up with the topic and generously gave us his time to come onto the show and talk, and just wanted to thank him for that.
And if any other Patreonies would like to come on, just send us an email. Tell us you want to come on. Tell us what you want to talk about, and when we can't think of anything better, we'll call you up.
Yep. Yeah.
Which is often. That's often.
Yeah. Very often.
Yeah,
Almost
we've been relying on the Patreonies to provide the Patreon content. It's working out great.
I don't see the problem in this.
Neither do I.
think it's
It's
a
like
great
perpetual motion.
Just like that.
The more Patreonies we get, the more Patreoni shows there will be.
There you go. Brilliant.
All right.
We should probably get a run of stickers made and mail them out to the Patreons.
I just found a company that'll do the morale patches and a big run of them. So I'm gonna do up like 200 of them.
Oh,
That'd be
awesome.
cool.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll charge twice what we normally would, so that we can cover the cost on the ones we give to the Patreonies for free.
That's right.
Wait, I shouldn't have said that out loud. My bad. I've got 2 shoutouts.
Go.
One to the Squire. Glock versus 1911, right? So we were shooting for groups. Him with his Glock, and me with my 1911. And so, just to make it fair, I shot with my left hand.
Right.
I believe the words he called me were arrogant. The first shot was bad, but then yes, I was able to beat him with my left hand using a 1911 over his Glock. My whole world doesn't make any sense anymore. But if you're shooting a 1911 against a Glock, and you might as well do it with my left hand since everything else is wrong. And speaking of 1911s,
how many episodes away are we from the SKS episode?
We're not.
We talked about how you're modding one out.
I'm not modding one out. I am getting one sent to me, which we are going to raffle off to the listeners and donate the money to this year's charity for the charity shoot. And at the charity shoot, I will shoot it.
In a dress.
I don't know about the dress thing.
Yes,
I know.
You said it on the air.
Apparently,
too, so,
it was
you're
said
wearing a
yes.
dress.
Yeah, Jay Hines is going to shave his beard while wearing a dress, and I'm going to shoot an SKS while wearing a dress, all in the name of charity. No one wants to see us in a dress.
I do.
Not really, but
have
we
you
paid
seen
to do it.
like Jay Hines' beard looks like he has an Ewok cub like stuck to his face. It's glorious. That's the only word for it. Anyway, back to Chris Babes. Chris Babes ran to production. I should say he ran back to production. So Chris Babes, longtime listener, going all the way back to CRR. He was actually on an episode of CRR once, and he shot production with the Tanfoglio for years and years, and then he made the switch to Classic. And then when I was joking around about switching to Classic, he called me out. He's like, I will beat you at this year's Nationals. Do you remember what the margin was, Matthew?
17%?
8. Remember? He
I knew it was a 1 and a 7.
He was going to Yes, it is a 1 and a 7. He was going to slaughter me. And apparently if you slaughter somebody, it means you've beaten them by 8%. Anyway, so Chris Babes, I don't know, he got cold feet or he got a sponsor, one or the other. I'd like to think he got cold feet. He'll tell you it's because he's the new Grand Power sponsored shooter. So congratulations, I guess, Chris, for being sponsored by Grand Power.
I guess, whatever.
So maybe now I got to take my stock through Extreme and shoot in production.
There you go.
See if he beats me by 8%. No way, man. No way. If I'm going to shoot a 9mm, I'm going to shoot a 1911 9mm.
Yeah, because that's what makes sense.
I don't believe in nothing no more. So yeah, congratulations to Chris on getting a spot with Grand Power and using that as an excuse to run away from our challenge. So man up, Chris. Come up with a new challenge, man.
7%.
7%. Yeah, there you go. Well, I mean, production and Classic Minor are the same scoring.
That's true.
So we just got to look at our points at the end of the match.
Yeah, just whoever has the most points wins.
There you go, babes. It's still on.
All right.
Okay. That's
Patreon supporters. We have a new one, as was mentioned just a few minutes ago, Clayton, for 223. So thank you very much, Clayton, and hopefully we got some of your questions answered. Current Patreon supporters, we have Robert, Colin, Dave, Mr. Uzi, Morgan, Jason, Dalton, Jonathan, Tyler, Richard, Rob, Thomas, Chad, Kevin, Ryan, Adrian, Mike, Mark, Justin, Miss Stacy, Spencer, Byron, James, and that's it so far. But we do have a new show. It was put up last week, and it was with Mark P., as was mentioned earlier, so that was awesome. Thank you, Mark, for coming on and stuff. It was a good show. So
it was a good show.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
So good, you should pay for the privilege
of listening.
Yeah, it's actually just a lot like this.
Except just...
commercial free. It's commercial free.
It is commercial free. There's no intro and outro music, so you do get that extra 45 seconds of... Actually, you don't get anything extra because we just tack that on in addition to what you're already listening to, so...
You also don't get 35 minutes of what I did this week in Guns.
That's true. It's all about the Patreoni.
Yep.
And Trevor's opinion about him.
I mean, the man can cook a steak and corn.
He certainly can. That corn was delicious.
The corn was delicious.
You're going to have to listen to find out, folks. It was hilarious.
It was something.
It was something. All right, guys. Please listen. No, wait. That's us. You please listen to us. Please keep listening to us. Please join. Please listen to me. Listen up, folks. Here we go. Please join one or more of our National Firearms Associations. Please check us out on Gun Owners of Canada. Please like us on Facebook. We've gotten a bunch of other cool things, such as kangaroo thumbs, etc. And we thank you for every single one of them. Gentlemen, lady, parting thoughts?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no. Trevor?
I
know I said gentlemen, but you're in too. What?
I was trying to think of something that rhymed with farting, farts. I don't know. I got nothing.
Thank you.
Good night.
So if you have any comments or questions for the show, please send an email to slamfireradio@gmail.com. Now go grab a gun and shoot something.
When the talking is over, it's time to get a gun.
The pin was glued into the thing, and I was working at it very closely in front of my face. And when I finally ripped it out, well, guess of course I was holding on to the tube crazy glue very tightly. And when I finally ripped the tack pin thing out of the top, the pressure from me squeezing it shot the crazy glue into my nostril, and it like dried in the corner of my nostril and created like this hard crystallized snot of crazy glue, and which I immediately ripped out. Blood! Oh my! And it actually like the shape of my nostril is actually been changed by ripping that. Wow, what a memory. Thanks, Matthew. Totally forgot I did that.
I'm glad I clicked record at the beginning of that story. That's an outtake.
I can't even make this crap up. Like this.
Were you drinking ginger beer?
Dude, I was like 12 years old.
I'm drinking ginger beer right now.
Are you? What brand is it?
Old Time, the Great
So
Jamaican.
I had 2 bottles of ginger beer here, right? Plus Matthew's regular Dr. Pepper. And so I gave him one of the ginger beer, and then he went back for the second one, and I was like pleading with him, no, please don't. I only bought 2, and I've got Dr. Pepper for you, like downstairs. That's the only other ginger beer in the house. It was like we were arguing over the last hit of heroin. But I want it. But it's the only other one.
I conceded, though, right?
You did. Yes, I was a bad host. I should let you have it.
No, it's okay. I understand the draw of ginger beer. I mean, that first hit, after that, you're just chasing that dragon.
Well, you remember the story about St. John?
I do.
Yeah.
You should tell it again, though.
No. Why don't we start the show?
All right, everybody ready?
I may have gotten a lot of sleep today and a little bit of sugar.
All right, this is going to be a fun show.